75-year-old man died in his sleep. 5 bedtime habits to avoid. After 70, he went to bed like he always did, fluffed his pillow, said a quiet prayer, turned off the light, and never woke up. No pain. No noise. Just silence. The kind of silence that never speaks again. I knew him, not from a newspaper story or some far-off tale. I knew him because he was my neighbor. We used to sit on the porch together, talk about life, God, and the aches that come with growing old. He was a good man, kind, thoughtful, full of stories from the old days. But even good men can die too soon, when they ignore the small things. That night, no one saw it coming, but the truth is, death rarely makes a sound. It slips in quietly, especially after 70, when the body is slower, the heart more fragile, and the little habits we once shrugged off carry heavier consequences. That's why I'm speaking to you now, not as a doctor, not as a preacher, but as an old man who's lived long enough to know this one thing. The way you go to bed might just decide whether you wake up the next morning. You see, people spend a lot of time talking about morning routines, about what to do after you wake up. But hardly anyone talks about how we go to sleep. And after 70, that silence can be deadly. I've seen it. I've lived it. I've changed because of it. So I'm not here to scare you, friend. I'm here to shake you gently, like a brother or a father would. Because I care. Because it matters. In the next few moments, I'll share with you 5 bedtime habits that, if you're not careful, can slowly take your health, your peace, and even your life. These aren't theories. They're truths I've learned from decades of watching people grow old and from staring death in the face more times than I care to count. If you're over 60 or love someone who is, please listen with an open heart. This message might be the most important one you hear this week or this year. And let me tell you this, it's never too late to change, never too late to live wisely. Never too late to make peace with your day before you close your eyes at night. So sit with me a while, let's talk, let's be real. Because tonight, when you lay your head down, I want you to do it differently. I want you to do it right. Habit 1, going to bed, angry or stressed. I remember the night Thomas died like it was yesterday. He was 76, still sharp, still full of fire. That night, he had a fight with his son over something small, a forgotten phone call, a harsh word said in frustration. They argued, and Thomas, stubborn as ever, went to bed mad. He never got the chance to say sorry, never got to mend the moment. He died that night just hours after slamming his bedroom door. Now, I'm not saying the argument killed him directly, but I've been around long enough to know that a heart full of rage and unrest doesn't rest easy. The body keeps score. And when you're older, the margin for emotional strain gets thinner. What used to be just a bad night at 40 becomes something more dangerous at 70. When you go to bed angry, your heart rate stays high, your blood pressure rises. Your body releases cortisol, your stress hormone, and it doesn't just fade away because the lights are off. It lingers in your system. It works against you while you sleep. And sleep, it isn't restful when your soul is still fighting battles. It's more like survival. You ever lie awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying a conversation, a mistake, a moment you wish you could change? That's your soul begging you to let it go. But too many of us don't. We carry it under the covers like a weight, and over time that weight breaks us from the inside out. At our age, peace isn't just nice, it's necessary. You need peace in your heart to calm your mind. You need calm in your body to give your heart a break. And I'll tell you something, no doctor's chart will show you. Unresolved anger is a killer. Silent but sharp. If you've got a grudge, make it right before you sleep. Say a prayer. Send a message. Whisper a forgiveness, even if the person who wronged you is gone. Don't carry poison to bed. I've done it. I've woken up exhausted, chest tight, soul heavy, and I've gone to bed with a clean heart. Those nights I slept like a child, even at 73. So before your head hits that pillow tonight, ask yourself, am I carrying anything I wouldn't want to take into eternity? Because one day you will lay down and not wake up. And you want to make sure you leave this world with a heart that's light, not loaded down with bitterness. Habit 2. Eating heavy or late dinners. I used to laugh at the old saying, eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper. Thought it was just another one of those things people say when they run out of real advice. But then I hit 70, and my body started teaching me lessons I didn't ask for. One night, I helped myself to a plate of fried chicken, mashed potatoes, and sweet tea around 9 o'clock. I figured, what's the harm? I'd been doing it for years. But that night, I woke up sweating, gasping for breath, heart pounding in my chest like a drum. I thought it was the end. Turns out it wasn't a heart attack, but a dangerous episode of acid reflux and blood sugar fluctuation made worse by my age, my sleep position, and that heavy dinner sitting in my stomach like a brick. As you get older, your digestion slows down. Food doesn't break down like it used to. Your stomach and gut are more sensitive, your metabolism is weaker, and your heart doesn't appreciate working overtime while you're supposed to be resting. Eating heavy meals late at night puts stress on your digestive system, increases your risk of heartburn and sleep apnea, and can even trigger silent heart issues. I've known folks who choked in their sleep from reflux, others who had strokes or heart attacks during the night, after a rich, salty, heavy meal just hours before bed. It's not a myth, it's biology, and it's especially dangerous after 70. These days, my dinners are light. A bowl of soup, a piece of grilled fish, a handful of steamed vegetables. I eat no later than 6 or 6:30. It may not be glamorous, but I sleep like a baby, and I wake up with strength I didn't know I still had. Listen, I get it. Food is comfort. A nice evening meal feels like a reward at the end of a long day, but don't let that reward turn into a punishment. Your body is doing its best to carry you. Don't overload it when it's trying to rest. If you must eat later, keep it small. A banana, a piece of toast, some warm herbal tea. And avoid the salt, the sugar, the grease. You don't need a feast. You need fuel and peace. Because when you hit your 70s, every choice becomes a seed, and at night your body either heals or hurts, depending on what you gave it. Make sure your plate isn't digging your grave. Make sure your supper helps you wake up, not disappear in your sleep. Habit 3. Relying on sleeping pills. I remember the first time I reached for a sleeping pill. I was 68, just lost my brother, and the silence at night was too loud to bear. I couldn't sleep, my mind wouldn't stop, the bed felt like a cage. A friend said, just take one of these, it'll help you rest, and it did. At first. But here's the dangerous part. They work so well, you start believing you can't sleep without them. So you take one the next night, then another the night after that. Before long, I wasn't sleeping. Unless I had a pill in my system. I became dependent. Not addicted in the sense of chasing a high, but tied to a crutch I didn't need. A quiet enemy in a white bottle. At first it was just one, then my body got used to it. I needed two. I started waking up groggy. My balance got worse. I felt foggy in the mornings. My memories started slipping. I blamed old age until my doctor told me the truth. Sleeping pills, especially for people over 65, can be more harmful than helpful. Most folks don't know this, but those pills can slow down your breathing at night. They can lower your heart rate. They can increase the risk of falls, confusion, and in some cases, they can make you stop breathing altogether, especially if you already have conditions like sleep apnea or a weak heart. We think we're helping ourselves. We just want rest. But the truth is, those pills can become a silent trap, and many elderly folks never make it through the night because their systems couldn't handle what was supposed to be just something to help me sleep. Let me be clear, I'm not telling you to throw away your medicine. That's not my place. But what I am saying is this: if you're depending on a pill to rest every night, it's time to take a hard look at why. Because real rest doesn't come from a bottle. It comes from peace, from rhythm, from quiet habits that signal to your body, it's time to let go. You want to know what helped me? Prayer, soft music, a warm bath. Turning off the TV an hour before bed, reading scripture or a comforting book, breathing deeply. Talking to God, talking to myself, creating a space that welcomes sleep, not demands it. You don't have to knock yourself out to rest. You don't need to numb your brain to quiet it. You're not a machine, you're a soul. And a soul doesn't find rest in chemicals, it finds it in comfort, rhythm, peace, and trust. So if you're leaning on pills to sleep, talk to someone. A doctor, a counselor, a friend. Don't wait until your body stops responding. Don't let the very thing that's helping you sleep rob you of waking up. Habit 4. Isolating yourself before bed. There was a time I thought solitude was strength. After my wife passed, I got used to the quiet. I'd sit alone in the dark, eat alone, watch TV alone, sleep alone. No one to talk to. No one to ask how my day was. No one to laugh with. I thought I was managing fine, until I started breaking down in ways I couldn't see. See, people think loneliness is just a feeling. It's not. It's a condition. It wears on your health the way wind wears down stone, slowly, silently, but certainly. And for the elderly, especially those over 70, it's deadly. Did you know loneliness increases your risk of heart disease, stroke, depression, dementia, even early death? That's not an opinion. That's fact. And yet, night after night, many of us close the door, turn off the lights, and face the dark, completely alone. Not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually. We carry the silence like a weight on our chest. I once went 4 straight nights without talking to anyone. Not a phone call, not a hello from a neighbor. Nothing. By the end of that week, I felt like I was disappearing, and that's when it hit me. Connection isn't a luxury. It's a lifeline. We're not meant to do life alone, especially not in the hours when everything is still and the shadows grow long. That's when your mind starts wandering. That's when fear sneaks in. That's when the soul craves even a whisper of warmth. So I started changing things. I made it a habit to call someone every evening, even if just for 5 minutes. I'd leave the porch light on and wave to neighbors. I'd send a voice message to my daughter or check in on an old friend. And let me tell you, those little moments brought me back to life. Even reading letters, looking through old photo albums, or talking to God out loud at night brought me comfort. Just hearing my own voice reminded me I was still here. Still connected, still human. So if you're going to bed every night in silence, don't accept that as normal. Find a way to reach out. Make a connection before your head hits the pillow, because when your heart feels seen and heard, your sleep becomes healing. No one should go to bed feeling invisible. You matter. Your voice matters. Your presence matters. And even if the world feels quiet, there's always someone willing to listen. You just have to reach out before the darkness convinces you you're alone. Habit 5. Ignoring the warning signs of your body. Let me tell you something I wish I had learned earlier in life. Your body always whispers before it screams. And at our age, after 70, those whispers matter more than ever. I once ignored a tight feeling in my chest for a week. Told myself it was just gas, or maybe a pulled muscle from working in the yard. My daughter begged me to get checked. I shrugged it off. I didn't want to be a burden, didn't want to look weak, didn't want to sit in another waiting room. Then one night, that little tightness turned into a crushing pain that dropped me to the floor. It was a mild heart attack. I survived, thank God. But I learned a hard truth. Pride will bury you quicker than any illness. See, we grew up tough. We worked through pain. We pushed through discomfort. But after 70, you can't afford to ignore what your body is trying to say. Shortness of breath. It's not just age. Swelling in your legs. Not just getting old. That flutter in your chest or that nagging dizziness. It's not always harmless. When your body speaks, listen. The signs are there. Sometimes it's fatigue that doesn't go away. Sometimes it's waking up more tired than when you went to sleep. Sometimes it's pain that shows up in the quiet moments, when you're lying in bed and the world finally gets still enough for you to feel what's really happening inside. Too many men and women have died in their sleep, not because of something sudden, but because of something that was building, silently, slowly, and ignored. Let me ask you plainly, when was the last time you checked your blood pressure? When was the last time you talked to your doctor about how you really feel? Not just the polite, "I'm fine," but the honest stuff, the fear, the pain, the breathlessness, the strange little changes that don't seem important but stick around. I know it's hard. I know we don't want to think about death. But I'm telling you the truth because I care. You don't have to die in your sleep because of something preventable. You just have to pay attention. Your body is not trying to betray you. It's trying to warn you. It's asking for help. And if you give it what it needs, rest, care, attention, it might just carry you a few more decades. Conclusion. What you do before bed could save your life. So here we are, friend. You made it to the end of this message. Not just a list of habits, but a wake-up call from someone who's walked the road you're on now. I'm not sharing these things to scare you. I'm sharing them because I've lived long enough to bury friends who died too soon. Some died from disease, yes, but others, they died from neglect, from silence, from habits they thought were harmless, until one night they weren't. If you're over 70 or even approaching it, take this seriously. Don't go to bed angry. Don't feed your body what it can't handle. Don't rely on pills to find peace. Don't isolate yourself when your heart needs connection. And for heaven's sake, don't ignore the signs your body is begging you to notice. You still have time. You still have breath in your lungs, purpose in your bones, wisdom in your soul. Don't waste it. Make every night count, not just with prayer, not just with reflection, but with action. Clean up your routines. Lighten your heart. Be kind to your body and go to bed each night like you're preparing for the morning you hope to wake up to, because one night you won't. And when that night comes, let it find you at peace. Let it find you ready. Let it find you with no regrets, no bitterness, and no unfinished business. Let it find you living wisely, even in your sleep. I'll be here, cheering you on, one quiet night at a time.